Hello everybody, it's Beth from Confessions of a Frazzled Teacher, and today I want to share with you my new recording system for my sight words. So what I did was I took all of Fry's sight words and I created a system that'll really work for you in your classroom. It's a way to keep track of where the students are, where to move them, and some motivation for the kids. Now, to keep it all organized, I have for you, and where I keep mine is I just keep it in this expandable file. Now this expandable file is pretty thick and full when you have everything you need in here. But once you set it up once, you're good for the whole entire school year. So let me just have you look inside. I start with the instructions. I go through the data where I keep track of it all, and then I have it all leveled. So 1A, 1B, that's the first 100 Fry words. 2A, 2B would be the second 100, and so on and so forth. Now in this expandable file, it only goes up halfway through all the levels. So there's 10 sets of 100 sight words for 1,000 in all. You can do the math, but there's 1,000 Fry sight words. So one expandable file goes through half of it. So what I have then is I have 2 expandable files for the entire school year, and it'll go through where some of my students will meet it all and some of them won't. So I just keep it in 2 different files. All right, now going through each file, we have the same kind of things. So I just wanted to kind of go through each one with you. So let's start with some of our data sheets. Now for our data sheets, I have here and I made up some names, but I just put some student names: Candy, April, Bob. Now you can use this however you want. How I use it in my classroom is I write the date that they passed that particular book. So it's up to you how you want to use it. If you want to write the date, if you just want to put a slash when they've passed it, it's totally up to you. I just wanted to give you some flexibility and some options. There's other kind of forms in there, like group forms, things like that. But the other one I pulled up for today, it's just an individual list. And I made up a student named Bob, and we're going to look at what Bob really needs. So if I'm going to give him the first book to really test him, this would be the first book. Now what I like to do is I like to have a master copy for when I'm working with students, and then I actually like to give my students their own booklet to take home, and I like to have their own booklet that I keep inside my expandable folder until they finish that book. So 1A would be 50 of the first 100 words. Now the reason why I designed it that way is it's a little more motivation for the students to be able to pass them quicker, or faster I should say. They can pass the booklets a little bit faster because there's only 50 words. Plus it's only one sheet of paper. So one sheet of paper has all the words that you need for your students. Now the way I actually use the book is I go through the list and starting with A, B, so on. So if I'm starting with list A, I just would have him read the words to me, have the list in front of him, and if he struggles with a word or is trying to sound it out, because these are sight words and I want my students to know them without hesitation. So because of that, for me, I like to just highlight wherever they struggle. So if he struggled with the word too, I'm just going to go through and highlight it, and then I can keep track. It's up to you how far you want to go for the day. I prefer when I'm working with a student, if they don't have many words or they're new, I like to go until they get 5 words wrong, because 5 is just a nice number, I believe, for me personally, because it's not too many, it's not overwhelming, and that student can focus on those 5. However, you might go less, go more, it just depends on your age group. I personally work with 3rd grade, and that's just the magic number for me. So, going back to Bob, he struggled, our imaginary Bob struggled with the word to and the word you. So in the box, I can just keep track of the words that he struggled with. And then as part of my data, I might want to keep track of some different resources that I give him, tools I give him. So I might say that I gave him a word list to take home. And that would be this whole booklet. We'll put Bob's name on it here so we know it's his book. So that could be something I do. So it could be word list, it could be whatever it is that you're doing. You might want to make flashcards. So if you struggle with just 2 and U, I might create flashcards that he can practice over and over. I might have other activities that he can actually do as extra practice. It kind of just depends on the student and what words that they have wrong. Now, once I finally get to the end, there are list A, B, C, D, and E. So we got 5 lists, and each list has 10 words. And another, just kind of go on back, you may only do just 1 word list a day. It's, once again, I tried to create a lot of flexibility in the system for you because I know every classroom is different. And even my students this year are definitely different than the ones that I had in the past. So I want to make sure everything I have is able to be used year after year without much changes to it. But say I finally got through Bob. He finally was able to master this list. So I want to definitely reward him. So some things I have for rewards. Got a couple options for you. So one is a little punch card that you can give where I divide it in half so that way if you're teaching the lower grades, you might only focus on one at a time. And I'm going to say almost in every room, I have kids that can master all 10 lists by the end of the year. I also have students that really might only be in the first couple. It just depends on the student and how much we're working throughout the year and they're able to grow. It depends. So what I have here is a little punch card, and as they pass each level, I could just use my hole punch. Now this is something I might want to keep on a ring to have all my students on hand. I can give it to him to have him responsible for. I could just keep it in my accordion file as well, so that way as they pass, I can just punch it and it's all there. So this is in color, and it's in black and white for you. And kind of going along with the awards as well, I want to really recognize when a student passes a level. So I have this super sight word reader. So this is, he passed book 1A. So I can just write his name, I could date and sign it. Once again, black and white and color. What's nice is I try to really make this personalized for you. So I do have some editable files so you can personalize it in there and print it out to give it a little more flair, make it more professional looking. I just really tried to think about what I'd want in my classroom and how I want to use it, so that way I want to give that to you and use in your classroom. Now, I definitely want this to work for you, so I'm here if you have any questions, comments, just anything that you need help with. I definitely want to work with you on this because I believe sight words are so important that I want you to really have these resources for your students. So definitely go through, take a look at this. If you have questions, feel free to email me. My email is confessionsofaFrazzledTeacher@yahoo.com, or just comment below. I would love to hear from you. Thanks.